Thus continues to change after Friday's Supreme Court ruling.
And in sports, a former Ohio University quarterback enters the record books. Newswatch starts right now.
Good evening, I'm Silver Barker.
And I'm Jada Respris. Welcome to Newswatch, your source for news impacting southeastern Ohio.
Phase 1 of construction started today on the US 33 and 50 interchange project in Athens.
The project will include work on pavement, drainage, and lighting along the Stimson Avenue. A new roundabout will also be constructed on Stimson. The project is set to be completed in several phases, with the closures that will require a detour, according to the Ohio Department of Transportation. Phase 1 is expected to be done by September 15th, with the overall completion date set for October 1st. Low-income households in Ohio will now be able to stay cool this summer. With the help of the Ohio Department of Development and Buckeye Hills Regional Council, the Home Energy Assistance Summer Crisis Program plans to provide assistance in paying for electric bills or central air conditioning repairs. The household has to include a member that is 60 years or older that can provide a physician documentation that states cooling assistance is needed. They have a disconnect notice, have been shut off, or other scenarios. The program will run from July 1st to September 30th. Customers must schedule an appointment with their county's Community Action Agency in order to apply.
I'm your weather forecaster, Peyton Simchek. And today in Athens, we are looking at 79 degrees with clear skies. So this is a lot more pleasant than we have been experiencing recently with those high 90-degree weather and the thunderstorms. So get outside and enjoy this pleasant weather while you can, and it will be clear and sunny. And moving on to the local radar, we are not seeing a trace of rain in sight. So enjoy the clear skies and the nice weather and get outside while you can, because today would be a great day to do that. And moving on to the weather surrounding Athens, we are looking at 79 degrees, which sounds high, but it is lower than what we've been experiencing lately. Along with the surrounding areas, we are resting at the high 70s and we are creeping up into the low 80s, but you'll find more about that in my full forecast. Thank you, and back to you, Silver.
Thanks, Peyton. Governor Mike DeWine is postponing the last execution that was scheduled for this year. The governor's decision pushes the October execution date for Quizzy Bryan to 2026. Bryan was convicted of killing a Cleveland police officer in 2000. The death penalty remains at a standstill, with the governor repeatedly saying no drugs for execution are available. Attorney John Parker says it's unreasonable to hold a death penalty trial while the law isn't functioning. Animal shelters are full and employees are running on empty. Newswatch reporter Jacob Mata reports humane societies and dog pounds are turning animals away because of overcrowding.
Humane societies and other animal shelters in Southeast Ohio are overcrowded and understaffed. People are surrendering animals at alarming rates, and the number of stray dogs and cats is rising. Shelters have been busier than ever in the last 6 to 8 months because of the pandemic.
We're finding a lot more, I can't afford my pet, I need to drop it off. I've found these strays and nobody's adopting. Everything's just sitting.
The ratio of employees and volunteers to animals becomes more unbalanced every day. The Hocking County Humane Society says they have 6 employees and just as many volunteers.
I think right now we have about 34 dogs, almost 70 cats. They're just everywhere. We've got animals everywhere.
The problem is happening in shelters across Southeast Ohio, with some operating with fewer employees.
We have 2 full-time, and we cover the entire county of Jackson, and we take turns being on call. Right now, because we are short-staffed, we're working like 12 days on, 2 days off, and taking turns being on call at night.
There are a few options when dog pounds become overcrowded, and saving the dogs becomes the priority.
In the past, there was a lot of euthanasia. Dog pounds especially had horrible reputations. They picked up dogs, they held them the 3-day legal hold, then they put them down. There weren't efforts to find rescue groups, to find adoptive homes, things like that.
Shelters say the best way to save dogs involves you. Adopt if you can, but also get your animals spayed and neutered to prevent overpopulation. For Newswatch, I'm Jacob Mata.
For more information on adopting, visit your local humane society or animal shelter.
A vendor market in Fairfield County drew thousands of people this past weekend. Newswatch reporter Peyton Simchek reports how 2 women packed a round barn at the county's fairgrounds.
A round barn in the middle of a residential area in Lancaster becomes a trading hub for thousands of people. It's been like a pilgrimage for vendors all over the country over the past 6 years to take in the sights, sounds, and smells of summer at the round barn. The event highlighting small businesses started with just one.
The benefit for us was that we were a small business first, so we got to travel and meet everybody. And then we realized, like, you kind of build a community.
Caitlin and business partner, who is also her mother, Denise Griffith, say they started small for their market in Lancaster, but spots for vendors are competitive now.
We get like 500 or 600 vendors apply for each market.
Vendors are handpicked with a designated number set aside for new sellers.
We're trying to encourage those businesses to come in and then maybe get their name out.
Vendors travel around the country to sell their wares, but they say summer at the Round Barn is unique.
It's different. It's not a craft fair and it's not an antique fair. It's both, and it's a mix.
The event had a successful turnout this summer and is in preparation for fall at the Round Barn this September. Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Peyton Simchek in Lancaster.
More information about the market at the Round Barn can be found at thevintageandmademarket.com. Coming up, how overturning Roe v. Wade is changing patient options from state to state. And Russian missiles hit Ukraine as world leaders meet in Germany. These stories and more when Newswatch returns.
Planes, a growing part of the climate emergency.
Aviation is going to become one of the top polluters if we don't act right now.
But could electric power change the equation?
Electric motors are within that edge of possible.
New technology,
flying taxis or cars,
could decide who wins.
We are doing something to change the world.
The Great Electric Airplane Race on Nova.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
Join us on June 30th at 9 p.m. for WOUB's Our Ohio. Our Ohio is a high school documentary film project that WOUB worked on in partnership with 5 Southeast Ohio high schools. Approximately 100 high school students produced 34 short films telling their own personal and cultural stories that were entered into a film festival. We'll show you some of the winning student work and hear from those who participated. WOUB's Our Ohio, Thursday, June 30th at 9 p.m. on WOUB HD.
I started teaching children really close to the time I started taking pictures myself.
40 years ago, a photographer taught children in rural Kentucky to capture their lives and dreams.
Yeah, I remember that.
Now, they reunite as adults to reflect on the past and catch up on the present.
We were important because we were taking those pictures.
Portraits and Dreams.
Thursday at 9:30 on WOUB.
I was on a kayak whale watching trip in California when this happened. A humpback whale breached on top of us. How can you get that close to something that big and not die? I was drawn into a much bigger story. There were other close encounters with whales.
I became obsessed with whales, and that's where the detective work starts.
Wednesday at 8 on WOUB.
The U.S. Supreme Court justices rolled out more major opinions today, including rulings about school prayer, opioids, and the First Amendment. Yet the focus remains on the court's Friday decision overturning the federal constitutional right to an abortion. Emily Schmidt reports on the quickly changing legal landscape.
The rallies look and sound like they have for decades, yet realities are just days old. Roe versus Wade overturned. Those who fought for a ban on some abortions overjoyed.
We have just put out a huge fire, the taking of
4,000 unborn American lives every day.
Those who fought for women's choices overwhelmed.
I was in disbelief. I was devastated.
Because an issue that guided a nation for nearly half a century now returns to the states, something different everywhere. Mississippi, which brought the Dobbs case behind Friday's ruling, said Monday it was triggering its laws to promote life. While in Florida, healthcare providers are asking a judge to temporarily block the state's new ban on abortion after 15 weeks of pregnancy, arguing the ban violates the state constitution.
But I think we are expecting a wave of attempts to limit reproductive rights even further.
The court's decision means some women's clinics must now explain patients changing options.
We gave resources to all of the patients with other clinics, names and phone numbers out of state, as well as resources that could help pay for the abortion and help pay for travel to get to those states.
The Biden administration warned Monday Republicans may push for a nationwide abortion ban at 15 weeks.
Our work is far from done.
What came from the court now moving to Congress, with laws changing across state lines. I'm Emily Schmidt reporting.
The G7 Global Summit is underway in Germany. President Joe Biden and the other group's 7 leaders are taking a focus on Russia's invasion of Ukraine and ongoing war. Cole Higgins has the latest on how these G7 nations are responding at Russian missiles hitting Ukraine.
Explosions rocking the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv early Sunday. Russian missiles hitting a residential area, including the backyard of a kindergarten and a 9-story apartment block, trapping some under the rubble of their homes. Police say at least 1 person is dead and 6 more injured as search and rescue operations continue.
Losing loved ones is the worst fate, she said. We do not deserve this.
Ukrainian officials say the multiple airstrikes may be a possible message from Russian President Vladimir Putin as G7 leaders gather in Germany for their annual summit. U.S. President Joe Biden and British Prime Minister Boris Johnson formally announcing Sunday that the G7 countries will ban the import of Russian gold, the country's second largest export after energy. Biden with a clear message for his G7 counterparts.
Putin has been counting on from the beginning, and somehow NATO would and the G7 would splinter, but we haven't, and we're not going to.
UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson urging the U.S. to keep up the pressure on Putin.
This is something that America historically does and has to do, and that is to step up for peace and freedom and democracy. And if we let Putin get away with it and just annex, conquer sizable parts of a free, independent, sovereign country, then the consequences for the world are absolutely catastrophic.
I'm Cole Higgins reporting.
Through the Partnership for Global Infrastructure, the U.S. and other nations plan to mobilize $200 billion over the next 5 years through a mix of grants, federal dollars, and private sector investments in projects in a variety of nations.
The American Farm Bureau Federation predicts celebrating the 4th of July this year will be expensive. A new survey released today found the Independence Day cookout will cost Americans 17% more on average than it did a year ago. They report feeding 10 guests on average will cost nearly $70 this year. This is an increase of about 10% since 2021. The biggest price jumps come from beef products. 2 pounds of beef may cost 36% more. Chicken, lemonade, and potato salad have also seen an incline in prices. Experts blame inflation, supply chain costs, and the war in Ukraine for the increased cost. Men need to be cautious of the gene that causes breast cancer. That story's still ahead.
We've been experiencing some pleasant weather so far this week, but will it continue? Find out in my full forecast.
Planes, a growing part of the climate emergency.
Aviation is going to become one of the top polluters if we don't act right now.
But could electric power change the equation?
Electric motors are within that edge of possible.
New technology,
flying taxis or cars,
could decide who wins.
We are doing something to change the world.
The Great Electric Airplane Race on Nova.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
On The Great American Recipe,
we want you to create a crowd pleaser.
I love pushing the boundaries and borders on flavor.
There is some spice in the air.
Yeah. Oh man, what is in that?
Unfortunately, at the end of this round, one of you will be going back to your home kitchen.
Am I nervous that I'm in an elimination round? Yes.
You want my food to be fabulous.
Yeah.
Like, go big or go home.
The Great American Recipe, Friday at 9/8 Central on PBS and the PBS app.
Here's what's new this month with Passport.
Welcome to the Hotel Portofino.
How do you find Italy?
You mean, how does Italy find me?
What's the plan?
If the threat's genuine, keep him alive.
Get him out of there. We need your help. All we want is the truth, and we will get to it.
These and all your favorite shows are available with Passport on the PBS app. Download it today.
Join us on June 30th at 9 p.m. for WOUB's Our Ohio. Our Ohio is a high school documentary film project that WOUB worked on in partnership with 5 Southeast Ohio high schools. Approximately 100 high school students produced 34 short films telling their own personal and cultural stories that were entered into a film festival. We'll show you some of the winning student work and hear from those who participated. WOUB's Our Ohio, Thursday, June 30th at 9 p.m. on WOUB HD.
Welcome back. I'm your weather forecaster, Peyton Simchek. And in Athens today, we see a high of 79 degrees with a low of 51 degrees. So that is a big drop, and it is going to get a lot chillier tonight. But we did experience a nice day in the high 70s, which has been rare recently with the high 90s and those thunderstorms we've been experiencing. And it has been mostly sunny, so if you want to go outside, today would be a great day to do that. And for our local radar, again, there is not a trace of rain in sight. No rain, no thunderstorms. So again, it'll be clear skies. So if you're planning on going outside, today would be an awesome day. Make sure to do that. And for our regional radar, again, there is no rain in sight. So make sure to get outside. And in Athens tonight, we're looking at an overnight low of 51 degrees. So that is a lot chillier than what we've been experiencing recently. So make sure if you're planning on going outside, bring a hoodie, make sure to plan accordingly. We are not used to this, and it will be mostly clear. So it's going to be a pleasant night. And in Athens tomorrow, we're looking at a temperature high of 81. So we are creeping back up into the 80s, but it is more pleasant than what we've been experiencing. So make sure to enjoy that while you can. And we do have a temperature low of 53. So that is another drop, just like we're experiencing today. So make sure we're planning for that cooler weather and that drop tomorrow. And it will be mostly sunny, so it will be another nice day to get outside. And moving on to tomorrow night, we are seeing some high pressure, which will be causing some pleasant temperatures in the area across the board. And for our 7-day outlook, tomorrow again we are looking at mostly sunny and 81 degrees with a low of 53. So that will be an awesome day to get outside. Along with Wednesday, we are looking at a very sunny day, but we are creeping back up into the 80s and the higher 80s. So it will be 85 with a low of 58. So make sure to enjoy that pleasant weather and a sunny day. And Thursday, we are back up into the 90s again. So we're creeping back up into the high temperatures, but it is going to be a sunny day and the low will be 64. So we're not going to have another chilly night that we're going to be having the beginning of this week, but it still will be pleasant outside. So enjoy that evening on Thursday. And Friday, unfortunately, we do have a possibility of thunderstorms. So if you are planning on going outside, make sure to plan accordingly and bring an umbrella. And it will be 90 degrees with a low of 67. So it will be a muggier day outside. And Saturday, we are looking at a possibility of showers, and we are dropping back down into the 80s. It will be a high of 85 and a low of 64. And for Sunday, there is another chance of showers with a high of 83, a low of 61, and Monday will be mostly sunny. Thank you. That was my full forecast.
Thank you, Peyton. While most people associate BRCA, commonly referred as a BRCA, with breast cancer, the gene can carry risk for both men and women.
Mandy Gaither has more on a push to get more men to talk to their doctors.
At age 61, Steve Callister's father lost his battle to an aggressive form of prostate cancer.
I've long had concerns about what my risk might be.
Now Callister's a father to 9-year-old twins.
I'm 50 years old now, and certainly want to be around for my family. And
That's why he decided to get genetic testing done.
it did come back as BRCA2 positive.
Having that gene mutation increases risk of certain cancers, including prostate, pancreas, and breast.
Hereditary cancer can be inherited from your mom or your dad, whether you're a male or a female. So, for example, if you're a male who's coming to see me, you can inherit cancer risk from your mother.
Hi, Steve. How are you today?
That's why Lindsay Byrne, licensed genetic counselor at Ohio State University College of Medicine, says it's important to know your family health history on all sides. If there's cancer in your family, she says talk to a doctor about whether genetic testing is right for you.
It helps us to know who's at higher risk and when to start screening.
Since his test results, Callister has changed his lifestyle to limit his risks and make sure he gets routine tests done every year.
It really is kind of a knowledge is power thing for me.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The genetic counselor says testing results are typically done through blood or saliva.
Results usually come back within 2 to 3 weeks.
Coming up in sports, a former OU professor puts a disc golf course in his front yard. That story is right after the break. And be sure to stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
Planes, a growing part of the climate emergency.
Aviation is going to become one of the top polluters if we don't act right now.
But could electric power change the equation?
Electric motors are within that edge of possible.
New technology,
Flying taxis or cars,
could decide who wins.
We are doing something to change the world.
The great electric airplane race on Nova.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
Join us on June 30th at 9 p.m. for WOUB's Our Ohio. Our Ohio is a high school documentary film project that WOUB worked on in partnership with 5 Southeast Ohio high schools. Approximately 100 high school students produced 34 short films telling their own personal and cultural stories that were entered into a film festival. We'll show you some of the winning student work and hear from those who participated. WOUB's Our Ohio, Thursday, June 30th at 9 p.m. on WOUB HD.
I was on a kayak whale watching trip in California when this happened. A humpback whale breached on top of us.
How can you get that close to something that big and not die?
I was drawn into a much bigger story. There were other close encounters with whales.
I became obsessed with whales, and that's where the detective work starts.
Wednesday at 8 on WOUB.
On The Great American Recipe.
We want you to create a crowd pleaser.
I love pushing the boundaries and borders on flavor.
There is some spice in the air.
Yeah. Oh man, what is in that?
Unfortunately, at the end of this round, one of you will be going back to your home kitchen.
Am I nervous that I'm in an elimination round? Yes.
You want my food to be fabulous.
Yes.
Like, go big or go home.
The Great American Recipe, Friday at 9, 8 central on PBS and the PBS app.
Disc golf has exploded since the pandemic, and one former OU professor took his passion for the game and built his own course. Newswatch reporter Aiden Crowley has more on the tournament that went down at Hippo Ridge.
With the rapid rise of disc golf, you may recognize this sound at your local park. Kendry Sampson says he decided to make the growing game part of his retirement plan.
And I was looking for stuff to do, and I came up with this idea that we could buy some property in the country and I would put a disc golf course in there.
The former Ohio University professor says it took a lot of elbow grease to shape the property to his vision after he bought it 30 years ago.
You could not actually step off the street in shorts at that time, anywhere. What we're sitting now was dense underbrush. 30 years, these trees now are 30 years growth from what was just total scrub.
The Hippo Ridge course is now one of Ohio's top rated, according to the disc golf app UDisc, and it brings players like Nick Robinson out for multiple tournaments a year to show off southeastern Ohio's natural beauty.
Blew me away. Beautiful property. I think it's like 80 some acres out here. Felt kind of like a paradise a little bit.
Sampson says it takes about 10 hours a week on a mower and more hours in logistics to pull off a tournament like the one this past weekend. But he says this work he started 30 years ago has paid off ever since Hippo Ridge opened to the public in 2008, in both growing the game and making new friends.
The players that come here are some great highlights. And that's the ones that are here today. Some of them are people I've known for a long time. Some of them I'm just getting to know. There's a guy on the course I just met 2 days ago.
A retirement activity has morphed into a disc golf heaven in southeast Ohio. For Newswatch, I'm Aiden Crowley in Athens.
For more information on Hippo Ridge, look up Hippo Ridge DGC on UDisc. Former Ohio University quarterback Nathan Rourke has found success in the Canadian Football League. Rourke set the single-game passing yards record by a Canadian quarterback Saturday. His 436-yard record-setting performance passed the 427-yard record set in 1981. He completed 39 of 45 passes with 4 touchdowns in the Lions' 44-3 win against the Toronto Argonauts. The Southern Ohio Copperheads' struggle to win continues. The Cheds dropped yesterday's game against the Cincinnati Steam 6-0. This one only went 6 innings because of the weather. Southern Ohio could not get a hit off of Steam pitcher Jacob Marlowe. The defense couldn't lock down for the Cheds as starter Sean Peck only went 2 innings after giving up 4 runs. The Copperheads sit in last place in the GLSCL South Division standings. The Cheds are in action Wednesday on the road against the Richmond Jazz. The Colorado Avalanche are Stanley Cup champions for the first time since 2001. The 2-1 win in Game 6 earned the Avalanche Lord Stanley's Cup in a 4-game series win over the Tampa Bay Lightning. Forward Nathan McKinnon had 1 goal and 1 assist for the Avalanche, helping big time in the victory. This is Colorado's 3rd Stanley Cup win in franchise history. Now, guys, Colorado Avalanche taking the series in 6 games, 4-2. I know this is big for the young team and just big for Colorado preventing Tampa Bay from getting 3 Stanley Cups in a row. What do you guys think about it?
I think with the Colorado being such a young team, I'm glad that they got the win.
I rooted for Tampa Bay, but hey, I'm glad as well. Thanks, Maria.
Thank you.
The world's deepest shipwreck has been found 4 miles beneath the surface in the Pacific Ocean. The USS destroyer escort Samuel B. Roberts, known more commonly as Sammy B., sank almost 80 years ago. An exploration vessel led by renowned explorer Victor Vescovo found the sunken ship. The destroyer sank 2 times deeper than the Titanic and sank back in 1944. Vescovo called it an honor to find the ship and was happy to retell the ship's story.
I'm your weather forecaster, Peyton Simchak, with your final weather for the evening. In Athens tonight, we're looking at an overnight low of 51 degrees, and it will be mostly clear. So again, it's going to be a very pleasant night, so make sure to get outside if you can. And tomorrow we are looking at a high of 81 with a low of 53, and it will be sunny for the next few days. Until Friday, we are looking at a possibility of thunderstorms along with the rest of the weekend and into Monday. Thank you. That's your final weather. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Silver Barker.
And for Peyton Simchak and Maria Manessi, I'm Jada Respris. Stay tuned for the PBS News Hour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB. Have a great night.
Support comes from Hocking Valley Bank, offering mortgage loans or refinancing on an existing home, making it easy for dreams to become a reality. Hocking Valley Bank, we know loans. Support comes from Snyder Strode Jarrett Financial in Athens, providing investment